What movie book plot twist really caught you off guard? There's a movie called Promised Land where Matt Damon works for a fracking company and goes to economically stagnant rural communities and tries to buy the mineral rights. John Krasinski plays an environmentalist who shows up in the town Matt Damon is trying to win over, and basically gets the whole town against fracking. At the end of the movie, it's revealed that John Krasinski's story evidence is all false, making the town completely turn on him and go back to supporting fracking. Here's the twist. John Krasinski was working for the fracking company the whole time, as a false flag to discredit the environmental movement. Even Matt Damon didn't know this until the very end, and becomes extremely conflicted about the ethics of his job when he finds out. That's a twist. The Prestige. I mean, it's a movie about magicians and tricks. You knew a twist was coming, but I still wasn't expecting that. Are you watching closely? I was so smug when I thought I figured out a twist about the drowning, but the whole Fallon twist hit me hard. Then the crazy thing is, I watched it again 10 years later, and I forgot the Fallon twist. The movie somehow bamboozled me twice. Memento really fricked me up. That twist was great. I loved that movie. It was unexpected but made so much sense all at the same time. From Dusk Till Dawn. I'm still P. Everything was fine and dandy. Then, vampires. Seriously, our teacher showed a scene to us in film class, I believe, and I legit only thought it was one of those quirky movies. And oh, Quentin Tarantino's in it. The absolute freaking carnage that followed had me shook. Book 12 of a series of unfortunate events. I could not believe what happened, and who had the idea. Very, very dark twist for a young adult novel that threw me completely sideways, and I'm 37. No Netflix spoilers please, I'm working my way through them now. Bridge to Terabithia. I just wanted something light and fluffy to watch. Instead, I got to bawl my eyes out. That was the movie I chose to see the first time I braved going to the theater by myself. I was thinking, oh, this sounds like a feel-good movie. That's exactly what I need while stepping out of my comfort zone. Oh man. Sixth Sense. First time through I never would have guessed it. After a rewatch, I see the clues. I actually feel sorry for smart people who figured it out right away. They totally missed that awesome oh my god moment. It's a TV show, but Black Mirror's episode Shut Up and Dance. I can't believe I didn't see it coming. The entire episode I was bewildered that this kid was so worried about his family finding out he beat off to pee. Then the twist happens and it all clicks. And then you rewatch it and catch him ogling his younger sister right before he heads off to his room. TV show but the bent neck lady from Haunting of Hill House. I thought the bent neck lady was going to be like the Thanos of Hill House, but it was just heartbreaking. Was blown away when Ned died first time reading Game of Thrones. I mean, it seemed like the books were going to be his story. The S1 finale of The Good Place. Ted Danson is so good in that episode too. Just go rewatch that reveal and pay attention to his face. It's perfect. An older movie, but Arlington Road. The ending in The Mist was insane. Stephen King even said he liked it more than the ending of the book he came up with. The Usual Suspects. One of the only movies I've ever screamed at when the twist occurred. Weirdly enough, I got this from almost the first scene, only because he changed hands when he shoots him. Burns' face is one of surprise. Then you see Spacey holding his hand in one of the following scenes and I was like, I bet it's him. I never get plot twists either. The twist in Your Name really changes the whole movie and makes the ending so much more dramatic and better. I avert him. I think for me this title belongs to Ender's Game. The author set it up so well with them practicing with the simulation that I felt the same way as Ender when he figured out he actually led the Third War. The realization that he just killed off a species hit me really hard, as much as it hit him. Man, I love the Enders series. The Outsiders when they killed Dally. I was already hurt after Johnny died. His death always devastates me, much more than Johnny's does. I've taught the book a few times English teacher, and every time I get to reading out the death scenes in class I have a hard time not bawling my eyes out and embarrassing myself in front of a group of middle schoolers. Inferno by Dan Brown was a rather humdrum read the whole time, but the reveal that the virus was released a week before Langdon gets there was a WTF moment. Essentially, 1/3 of the world is already sterile before the events of the book take place. Reminds me of Watchmen as I did it 35 minutes ago. The Village. Did not see that twist coming. This movie really doesn't get enough credit. I thought it was lovely, and any negative reviews were just subconscious bitterness that it didn't out Sixth Sense the Sixth Sense. It was a different kind of movie, with a very different message, and I did suspect the twist at the end, but still loved it. C7N. What's in the box? I don't think they actually shot it, but they storyboarded an alternative ending where Morgan Freeman shoots the guy before Brad Pitt has the chance to do so, thereby denying him his victory. I always thought that would have been a good ending. Gone Girl. The book was completely fricked. I fully screamed reading that scene. I was starting to think that it was just drippy and poorly written. When the twist happened, I felt bamboozled and lied to. First time I experienced that whole unreliable narrator thing. Awesome. Not a book movie, but I certainly didn't see the twist in BioShock coming. My jaw was on the floor when that happened. I seriously had to think about it. My instant reaction was number freaking way. Fight Club. One of the first movies I saw where I immediately watched it start to end all over again. Might be more of a reveal than a twist, but I honestly didn't get Redham until the climax of The Shining. I still feel stupid about that because I tried to figure it out for a while but couldn't. If you haven't read the book, you should. There's a few more interesting reveals. The ending of the Mistborn trilogy. Browsing the Sanderson subreddits, a few people claim to have figured it out before it reached that point, but it was all completely unexpected to me, from what happens to the main and secondary characters to how it affected the world immediately afterward. And then I was caught off guard again when I immediately started a reread and saw how much of it he started planting seeds for even in the first couple chapters. Reading more of his stuff, I've found out that Sanderson's a fan of giving you the answer without ever bringing attention to the fact that there's even a question. The Snap. I never read the comics, so I had no idea that Thanos would actually succeed. My girlfriend was P. She got even more P when it ended with Thanos will return. A dumb little sci-fi horror film called Pandoran that I have a deep affection for had a couple of good twists at the end that I liked a lot. The whole movie talks about space madness and people going crazy in space and losing their mind, and it's a constant threat to the people aboard the ship. At the end, when space is revealed, you are being led to believe that either the ship has traveled so far there are no stars, or it has been traveling so long that the last stars have gone out. But the reality is it just crashed in the ocean on its destination planet. I loved this because it changed the nature of the horror. You are overwhelmed with good feelings of them arriving at their destination, but inside you still feel a bit sick, because you realize the main character almost lost his mind at the horror of the depths of space, when he was not in space at all. Just the mere thought of being surrounded by infinite nothing was enough to drive people to the breaking point of their sanity. The House of Cards train. The novel we need to talk about, Kevin. Such a somber subject, and the end revelations floored me. When the mother is reliving some certain scenes at the very end, it actually made me cry. I did not expect that. I thought, if that were the truth, it'd have been told a lot earlier in the novel, but no. Reiner and Bertolt being Titan shifters. Sorry to bother you, having only seen the trailer. The last third of the movie was unexpected in a good way. My friend just told me that the movie was not what he expected from the trailers, and that I should watch it. I was not expecting that crap at all. Simon being turned into Swiss cheese in Lord of the Flies. I recently reread Lord of the Flies. I remembered the antagonism of Piggy and that he eventually died, but I had completely forgotten about Simon and the kid with the birthmark who must have burned to death. Sirius dying in Order of the Phoenix. I read that passage, then closed the book on my lap and just cried for a long time. Dumbledore hit me the hardest since they do such a good job setting up how he trusted Snape. The first Saw movie. That scene left me completely stunned. Saw was probably my favorite movie twist to experience in a theater. I remember everyone gasping and the person next to me jumping in their seat. I was so excited leaving that movie, but the sequels were all terrible. Shutter Island threw me for a loop. I went into the Matrix expecting a crappy version of Hackers. When Neo gets shot into one of the greatest sci-fi flicks of all time talking to Morpheus, it was one of the most incredible movie twists of all time. Whoa. Matrix. It's mind-blowing this is so low. I guess I understand because many people think of Matrix culture as just some idea that has been around forever. I'm sure Matrix wasn't the first to come up with this idea, but holy crap, no movie has stirred up more conversation in the months that followed it. With my friends, family, workers, etc. Everyone was talking about this movie. It's relatively lowbrow but Inside Man film had a pretty good twist and was far better than I was expecting. Highly underrated movie. Denzel Washington is great in it. The AskReddit series spends 2 whole books setting up the death of a character as being an absolute tragedy. That this Princess Boa character was the light of the world, and the villain was a horrible person for killing her out of jealous love. And then it turns out in book 3 she's actually every bit as wicked as he is, and actually loved him, but was playing everyone for power, including the villain that she loved, the man she pretended to love instead of him, and implicating 2 different people, making her arguably worse than even her murderer. I kinda dumped the series once the shock wore off and I realized I hated this twist. I might try it again, but damn. My god, someone else who has read the AskReddit series. I've never met another. NEO, Henry short story. The Last Leaf is my favorite. The first story that made me cry reading it. Yes. First time watching Unbreakable, I'm thinking this movie is almost over and almost nothing has happened. Really enjoyed the plot twist and honestly didn't see it coming. I thought the same thing, except I would have been fine with the movie ending after Bruce Willis reveals his new identity to his son. That would have been a perfectly satisfying ending to me. But then the real ending hit, and I almost stood up in the theater. The End of Perfume, the story of a murderer by Patrick Susskind. Read that book over 10 times just to relive that WTF moment. Read that at the suggestion of a girl I dated in high school. Was pretty outside my wheelhouse. I was more a fantasy sci-fi reader, but dang that was a good book. I understand the film is pretty bad though. The book never let me go. There were probably clues and maybe it was obvious from the start but I didn't catch on. I just remember it being pretty mundane, although interesting and well written. And then all of a sudden I'm thinking wait, what? The movie made it clear from the start what it was all about but I didn't feel that way reading the book. Not a movie, but when General Shepard killed Roach and Ghost, my heart sunk. The music didn't help either. From Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. We got it, sir. Good, that's one less loose end. I don't see this one here, but Cloud Atlas has a twist that really just comes out of nowhere during the origin of Sonmi 451. If you've seen the movie, this twist still has a crazy effect because you know what should happen. But the way that it comes out in the book is extremely subtle and underplayed until it just hits you in the face immediately and makes you realize how incredibly smart Sonmi actually is. This is going to sound stupid, but the twist at the end of Unbreakable, touching the final hand, came as a surprise to me. In retrospect, it was foreshadowed in multiple conversations and the film was directed by M. Night, so there was bound to be a twist at the end, but it still caught me off guard. In a dark room and other scary stories, the short story about the girl with the green ribbon shocked my first grade self. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.